You very much. Jeff Zeleny at the White House. And out front now, the Democratic Senator Chris Murphy, who sits on the Foreign Relations Committee. And Senator, I so appreciate your time tonight. So Trump spoke to Putin today, and he said he and Putin agreed to start negotiations immediately. And then he said after that call, he was going to call Zelensky to inform him of the conversation. Do you worry that Zelensky is getting cut out of this?
Well, I think there's no doubt that Donald Trump wants to negotiate Ukraine's future for Ukraine. Listen, I'm all for a diplomatic solution here, but not one that hands the entirety of Ukraine to Vladimir Putin. Donald Trump has said he doesn't want to spend any more money on this war. And if Vladimir Putin knows that, that means that he's got the better hand at the negotiating table. Ultimately, it's really bad for the United States if Russia owns Ukraine. It's very possible Russia won't stop, and they will invade a NATO country. That's American boots on the ground. That's our lives at stake. It also means that China accelerates their plans to try to take over Taiwan and maybe other areas of commercial transit in Asia, harming our economy. We benefit from the current world order in which big countries don't get to expand their boundaries through force. And so a bad deal for Ukraine is a bad deal for the United States.
So, as part of this, well, I don't want to imply it's part of that, but the conversations that Trump is having with Putin did release the American Mark Fogel, who had spent nearly 400 days in a Russian prison. And he didn't do that until Trump was president. The Biden administration was unable to secure Fogel's freedom. Do you give Trump the full credit for that?
Well, I think it's always good when our hostages are coming home. The question is, why did that happen? I think what you're seeing is Trump signaling to Putin that he's going to give Putin what he needs in Ukraine. And so perhaps Putin is trying to give Trump a few things that he needs. I want our hostages home. I think ultimately, if Ukraine gets handed to Russia, there'll be a lot more Americans killed.
But you think this may be in some way related
to captivity?
Sorry, you think this may be related to what's happening in Ukraine?
Well, I don't know. The reality is Trump has signaled over and over again that he's going to cut Ukraine off and hand Ukraine to Russia. And if that's the deal and that's been communicated to Russia, then of course Russia may be doing some small things to help Donald Trump be able to ultimately sell what will be an abandonment of U.S. interests.
You've been highly critical of Elon Musk's role in the Trump administration, Senator. You've laid that out clearly. His role does seem to be getting bigger by the day, though. I mean, Trump is meeting with the Indian Prime Minister Modi tomorrow. Reuters is reporting that Musk is going to meet with him, too, right? And he's been trying to get Starlink into India. He's been trying to get more Teslas into India, deal with import duties with Modi. Do you have any problem with Musk's presence in a meeting with Modi, obviously the second most populous country in the world?
I mean, this is a fundamental corruption. This is a fundamental corruption. We cannot let this be normalized, that the richest man in the world is operationalizing American foreign policy so that he can make himself richer. That is what is going on here. I mean, it's extraordinary that you are going to have Elon Musk, who's essentially running the government right now, be sitting across from the Indian leader and ask the Indian leader to give him personal financial favors instead of asking for things that would broadly help the American public. Musk wants to outsource jobs to India. He wants to outsource jobs to China. And he is using his access to Donald Trump to be able to shutter jobs in the United States and make himself more money. We've never seen anything like this. Even in the Gilded Ages of the early 1900s, you didn't have J.P. Morgan and the Rockefellers literally sitting in the White House using their access to the president in order to cut deals with foreign governments that would help them.
Senator, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Senator Murphy.
Thank you.